back to New Orleans this morning as we take another live look for you as the sun starts to come up. It's still a very overcast forecast right now for that city, but we can tell you that the daylight, when it does start getting brighter out there, it's going to provide such a better picture of the damage that Ida left behind overnight.
Right now, federal officials are reporting, quote, catastrophic damage in parts of southeast Louisiana. Jay Gray is in New Orleans with a closer look at the impact. And Jay, what is that situation behind you right now?
Yeah, and a lot of severe damage here as well. The situation behind me, a rooftop that was pulled away and thrown into the French Quarter. I want you to take a look right now, and you can see it's been ripped off, tossed across the street and into this area, pulled down with it an elevated street sign. You can see as we have officers now patrolling here, but you can see the arm of that street sign that was mangled and pulled down to the ground. As you work up that and onto the balcony, you can see that the wind ripped across some of the windows and doorways, pushing them open. Windows are shattered across the area, and you hear alarms all through the French Quarter. Most every block you can hear an alarm. A lot of businesses, a lot of homes with severe damage here, and that's the scene across the entire New Orleans metro area. The entire area without power right now. More than 1 million people with no electricity. It may be a while before that electricity comes back too, because the transmission lines that bring all of that power into the city, they're in the Mississippi River right now. Extracting them, repairing them, that's going to be a very daunting task.
Jay, as we take a look at you out there in the French Quarter, I don't notice a lot of flooding on the streets, right? Because the big impact of Ida was that wind, and I saw you in that wind as well. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, the wind was as intense as any I felt in a hurricane. It was extreme, and it lasted for so long. I mean, it was sustained, powerful, driving winds for hours upon hours, and that's what leaves you with situations like this. You know, in Katrina 16 years ago, it was the water that did the damage. Here, I do believe you're right. I think it's going to be the wind that causes the most problems, not only here, but across the entire region. Now, in the coastal areas where this thing made landfall, about 100 miles to our south, yeah, the water did a number on several of those smaller communities. But here in the New Orleans metro area, definitely the wind that was the issue.
Jay Gray, live for us. Jay, thank you. You know, thousands of people gathered gas, sandbags, other things that they could just to wait out the storm inside their homes.
Yeah, some people made that call. They said they didn't want to worry about whether their homes would survive the storm. Others say it's too hard to evacuate with pets. KXAN's David Yeomans is in Louisiana, and a couple he talked to said it's a tough decision, but they believe they made the right one.
They're kind of our most important thing in this house. You know, all the material stuff is irrelevant at the end of the day, so.
Stay for the dog.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, kind of. And I mean, we're in a solid brick house, so we figured we would be all right for the most part.
And Kristen, a point you brought up earlier was that during Katrina, a lot of people didn't have that option to take their pets with them, and so they got stuck.
Yeah, you know, the shelters 16 years ago weren't accepting pets. The buses that were evacuating these people out of New Orleans weren't accepting pets. So, you know, a lot of people chose to stay. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't leave without my dog. Yeah. That's part of your family, you know? So the fact that we now have those options available, I think is a huge step, especially when it comes to the process of evacuation. Convincing people, you know, your whole family can go with you. Like you said, the house, the materials, those are just things, right? You can replace those. But it's just one of those things. I personally would never want to ride out a Category 4 hurricane. The sound that would make. I mean, if you have not yet watched meteorologist David Yeomans' coverage, I encourage you to go back in the live stream and actually watch it on KXAN.com, because he was saying it sounded like a jet engine, just like trying to go over and over. And like Jay said, this isn't just like a couple hours kind of thing. This was all day yesterday that you were dealing with that. So very powerful storm. Obviously, I wanted to show you when it comes to what Ida is doing now. It's continuing to weaken. It's still bringing flooding rains. I mean, in fact, they've issued a flood emergency in parts of the Deep South because there's so much rain. And even for perspective, I was looking at some of the reports here of Ida making landfall yesterday. The winds and the water being pushed onshore was so intense, it actually reversed the flow of the Mississippi River for some time, with the U.S. Geological Survey saying that is extremely uncommon for that to happen. But it's, again, a testament of the power of Ida here, continuing to make its way towards the north. I mean,